Hi, y'all. Welcome. We are doing yet another one of our themes of the week. Now, I think I missed a week and I apologize. As I mentioned before, we are doing themes of the week every 2 weeks. So if you miss me 1 week, I'm sorry, I'm not doing them every week. So, themes of the week are topics that come up on a regular basis, and I know some of you have asked, like, what do people talk about in therapy? So I know that you guys are as curious as everyone else. So let's just get into that, because I usually like to make these lives a little bit shorter. So these two kind of came to me. There's two themes this week. They kind of came to me last night while I was talking to a client, and I realized that this first one had come up before. So I want you guys to really listen to these themes, and I want you to either make note of it for yourself or make note of it for a friend. If you are doing it, let's talk about it. If you know someone who this is happening to, by all means, have a conversation with them. So first thing out the bat, I know I put the topic as neediness, but it's all encompassing. First thing that we came up with as a theme was sending people your location without purpose. And I use that without purpose because a lot of people are like, well, Riza, when you're looking for a place or you're telling somebody to meet you somewhere, you might say like, okay, meet me here, and they don't know where it is. So you just send a location. Cool. Harmless, right? Until it now becomes, hey, where are you at? And you'd be like, I'm at my friend's. Okay, send me your location. Now this person is not picking you up. They're not sending a taxi for you. Nothing like that. They just want to know where you are. This is extremely harmful. So when the sub-themes was harmless or toxic, it truly is harmful because the reality is no one should really feel like they need to send their location, right? No one should really feel like they have to do that. Give me a thumbs up if you guys can hear me, because the rain is just started to pour really loudly in here, and I hope you guys can still hear me. So thumbs up if you can still hear me, because I don't want to spend the next 10 minutes talking. You guys don't hear anything I say. So let me know. So right, people don't, okay, it's passing, wonderful, thank you. So what we need to get across to young people especially is anybody or any partner or even like a friend who feels the need to like know exactly where you are, unless it's for like your safety or like I said, they're picking you up or something like that. There really is no reason for your partner to need to know where you are, exactly where you are, every single day, multiple times a day. And this is not just for young people. I have clients who are in their 40s and their spouses are like, send me your location. And they've gone into arguments and disagreements because say you have a live location and the live location only lasts like 15 minutes or an hour and it stops at like a random place. Then this partner or friend or whatever has a reason to confront you and said, hey, I thought you said you're in Queenstown. Your live location said you're in Albertown or Cam Street or Lamaha. All of a sudden now, there's a reason to question your trust or loyalty. And I feel like that's really problematic. So I feel like it's a major no-no. Please, if you are in a relationship that your partner is making you send your location for no specific purpose, or maybe you're listening and you are that partner who is insisting on sending location, ask yourself, why? Why do I need to know where my partner is at every given point in time in their day? Why is this a necessity? What is happening with me personally that I feel like I can't trust them to just say, oh, I'm on the road, babe, I'll talk to you later, or I'm going to pay the bills, babe, I'll be right back, or I'm going to the groceries, babe, talk to you later, or I'm in the groceries, babe, I can't really talk right now. So I feel like it's really crucial for those who insist on having the location sent to question, well, why do I need this? What is it either about their characteristic that's making you question them, or what is it about your own insecurities that is making you need for this person to reassure you that what they're saying is the truth? Maybe there was some deception in the past. Maybe you have trust issues from a long time ago, from birth maybe, as a child growing up, you don't trust people very well. And so you have developed this habit of asking people to do things that really now may be considered toxic or possessive or even abusive. And so I want to encourage people to have these conversations with your friends, your families. And when people say like, my partner always needs to know where I am, and now I have to send them the lives, like what is that even about? I encourage them to be like, I don't think that's healthy. And why are you still there if your partner is so controlling or so possessive? Because let me tell you, it does not ever stop at, hey, send me your location. It then becomes, where are you? Who are you with? Why are you with this person? Maybe you shouldn't hang out with this person. It becomes like a mode for starting to make you be controlled and to isolate you, right? And to question your trust and to question your honesty and loyalty. So please, 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 do not encourage people to have to mandate your daily outings and by sending your location. Just stop it. Just stop it. Okay? Cool. Are we good on that one? Thumbs up if you agree. If you disagree, comment, please. Let's have this discussion. Let me know why. Maybe you are somebody who is the person asking for the location. Maybe you're a person who is being asked to have your location sent. You don't know how to have that conversation. Okay? 2. This one was really what the theme was about, which is like neediness and being like dependent on people. And the foundation of neediness can come from a lot of places, right? So there's people who are needy. So let's just set up a baseline for what is considered neediness. Neediness are people who either need your attention, physical attention, being with you, there with you, day in, day out, emotional attention and support on a regular basis. Maybe mentally, cognitively, they need a lot of your attention, they need a lot of your focus, and it can be particularly difficult for you to function. That's usually how we look in therapy. We say, well, if it messes with your function, that's not healthy. If it makes your job harder or your relationship harder, that's not good for you either, right? So when we talk about neediness and people being dependent on others, it is problematic because we can't be dependent on one sole person to be your happiness, your guiding light, your support. It's called support system for a reason, not support buddy, right? You do have a support buddy, that's great, but it's called support system for a reason, whereby you're going to get support from your coworker, maybe one coworker, maybe a neighbor, maybe someone in your religious congregation, maybe someone that you have an NGO with, like multiple people, a member of your family, right? It's called a support system for a reason. It's not meant for you to lean on one person for your entire life for every single thing that happens. And why the discussion about neediness? Because I feel like some of the people who are like our strong friends are really overwhelmed right now, and COVID has created a lot of problems for them too, because here you are trying to be the strong friend, and now everyone is coming to you. Everyone needs your help. So what then happens to your mental health? You then need to come and see me, because you can't handle the pressure of being everything for everyone all the time, right? And so by being dependent on people, we really put a lot of pressure on that person to be there for us through thick and thin, even when they're going through their own emotional and mental health stuff. And 2, challenge with needing people all the time or needing someone all the time for everything is that we then don't learn to develop our own capacities. And I always make this, I see my sister was watching, I don't know if she's still watching, but in therapy, I'll tell people, like I use a lot of analogies and anecdotes, and I'll say, look, my sister is not good at baking, right? And I'll say, if I am the one to make the cookies or the cupcakes every time she has a get-together, and then I leave the country and they have a get-together, she now is frantically trying to figure out how does she provide these cupcakes and cookies, when all along she could have learned how to make the cookies and cupcakes with me, right, as a guide. So that way she didn't have to depend on me all the time. So you see what happens when we remove that person from the equation, that singular support person, we then end up not learning to build our own capacity. Why would I need, like maybe in her head she's thinking, well, why would I need to ever learn to make cupcakes and cookies when my sister does them the best, right? And if you have that mentality towards things in general, you're not going to want to learn. You're not going to want to develop yourself. You're not going to want to become independent, right? So if it is that by depending on people, we lose out on our own development. We lose out on learning how to balance our own emotions, how to self-soothe, how to react without knowing, oh my God, okay, I'm just going to run and talk to George. You know, like that you, at some point in time, you have to learn the skill of self-soothing, right? How do you cope? How do you self-care? And by all means, if you want to know about coping and self-care, I have tons of videos on the YouTube page about that from all last year, because that's all people wanted me to talk about. How are we coping through this pandemic? So I have tons of videos on my YouTube about that. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about neediness and being dependent, and almost, there's something called codependent and enabler, and I encourage you guys, if you know that either you're super needy or super dependent on people, or you know someone who's super dependent on you, look up codependent and enabler, or codependency. Because codependency is when it becomes really toxic and really problematic. And if it is that you are codependent, you really need to seek psychological support, because you need someone to help you through that codependency, because it can become very toxic, and you can actually end up in abusive situations because you are codependent on people for your emotional stability. Thumbs up if you're still hearing me. I don't know where this rain just decided to bust down on me as soon as I started my life. But the other thing that's problematic with neediness, dependency, codependency is boundaries. The person who is codependent or the enabler, they don't have any concept of boundaries. People will come into your space, whether it's your physical space, your home, your workplace, your friends groups, and they are gonna not understand why you need a break. They're not gonna understand why you can't talk to them, and they're not gonna understand why you need to work on like your own stuff or your own self, because the reality is they don't understand boundaries. They don't understand that people have their own lives, people have their own schedules, people have their own goals in life. And if you don't understand that about other people, how can you possibly understand boundaries? If it is that you feel that you're so entitled that people should just revolve around you or self-centered, that's different from when you are dependent on people because you have not learned how to self-soothe. Don't get me wrong, they are different. And I don't want to come off as being like lacking remorse for people who are codependent, or lacking remorse for people who are too dependent on people. But the reality is, if it is that you know you are codependent or you're an enabler, you may not be aware that you are violating people's boundaries, and then the other side of the coin is people don't want to talk to people because they feel like they're invading people's time and space. So it is a balance. If it is that you know that you go to your friend all the time about one problem or several problems, instead of saying, just calling them and ranting, be like, hey, can I call you, something I want to talk about? Or hey, there's an update on that thing I talked about you with last week or yesterday. Do you have the time? Do you have the time right now? And that doesn't mean physical time, people. It's emotional time. Sometimes I have my phone and I might have the time, but because I'm focused on like clients, or I'm thinking about a specific client, or I'm working on a treatment plan or something, I can't switch my attention to look at my phone and answer questions. I have to stay on my task. So there's cognitive time, emotional time, and physical time. Sometimes people have physical time, but they just don't have the emotional time for whatever it is, the energy you are bringing to them. And sometimes people need to preserve their energy, right? So that's okay too, right? And then the last thing, which is kind of encompassing everything, is the problem with neediness and that sending the location thing is the concern as a therapist with persons who struggle with insecurities and trust issues. A lot of things we're talking about have to do with your level of trust in people and your security in yourself. If it is that you are insecure with either who you are, what you bring to the table, and what you can offer, or your friendship, or you're in a relationship, if it is that you're insecure about that, you will do things like crossing boundaries, inappropriate, arguing, self-sabotaging. You might even get to the point that we talked about to begin with, which is asking people for the location because you just don't trust them anymore. And that's why I started off with saying, if you are someone who is feeling insecure and you can't trust people, you need to take a step back and be like, is what I'm asking of this person, is it about them? Is it about, do they have sketchy behavior? Or is it about my own insecurities? My own troubles, my own problems, my own fears, right? So I just wanted to talk about those things today. Really sorry if I'm shouting into the camera, guys. It's storming here in the office. I cannot believe the amount of rain that just came on as soon as I started my live. Please let me know if you guys can hear me. Please let me know if it was clear. If I need to redo it, I hope I don't have to redo it, because I talk a lot from my own head. Like, this is all I had on the piece of paper. That's it. 2 points, 3 points. Everything else I just talked about was from my mind, my own experience as a therapist. So I hope I was able to be clear. I hope you were able to take something away from this live. Oh, thanks, Kelly. Yes, thank you. Somebody tells me they can hear me. I got a couple thumbs up, but I was like, can you guys still hear me? But I hope that, this topic, even though it was brief, you were able to take something away from it. In terms of, are you engaged in a codependent relationship? Are you an enabler? Are you codependent? Are you too needy? Is your neediness impacting your ability to be an understanding friend as well? Right? Sometimes we feel so bad. Like, we are aware, like, oh my God, I know I'm a needy friend. Oh my God, I don't want to ask anybody for any more help. I've already overdone it. I've already asked too much of certain people. Like, again, you can feel that way because that's your feelings, and I'll never take that away from you. But at the same time, ask yourself and ask them, hey, I don't mean to burden you, or I don't want to upset you, Or do you have time to talk about something that's really upsetting me now? And until they say yes or no, you have to self-soothe until they say yes or no, until they give you permission to enter their space, emotionally, mentally, physically. Okay? Have a wonderful weekend. Why this rain couldn't have been falling on a Sunday morning, I don't know. Let's hope for Sunday morning rain. This is the craziest April weather I think I've seen in a long time. But do drop comments, do drop questions. If you don't agree with what I said, by all means, let us know. I will check in again with you in 2 weeks, and we'll talk more about the themes that come up as you go along. Have a safe weekend. Wear your masks. Don't touch your face. Wash your hands and be safe. Take care. Have a good weekend.